Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Fox and Pheasant.
Yeah. Fox and Pheasant Group. You are, if you blinked and you watched December and January back to back, you realize we're not even trying to pretend. It's the exact same night.
It is.
We are obviously behind on December. We got that out, but ahead on January. And wait till you see what we do with February.
Oh my gosh.
We are on a roll now that we are back from our illnesses. So,
That's right.
So we really decided to go with a curveball in January for both the Society and Fox and Pheasant Group.
Yeah.
Society Pour was the most non-traditional Kentucky bourbon I've ever had.
It was more of a curveball than this one.
For sure.
Because I think you're all going to really enjoy this one.
Well, I think you're going to enjoy it. I just don't think anybody knows anything about it.
Yeah.
The Old Barstown Estate bottled Kentucky bourbon that tastes like a cognac or a brandy was our pour for the Society. If you want to even learn about it, hear about it, go watch that video.
It's a bourbon that's not a bourbon, but is a burnbourbon.
It's one I encourage you as a bourbon drinker to go watch that video. Maybe see if you can't find a bottle and try, because it is unlike anything I've ever had. This is something that just kind of popped back out of nowhere, and I saw it and I picked it up early. So literally upon release, I picked it up. This is a distillery that has now relaunched a bourbon in 2022.
Yeah.
You're talking about an 1800s, I think it was like 1880s in that era, pre-prohibition, way pre-prohibition, bourbon that was being made that was super popular in the country that in 1960 just went away.
Yeah. Mothball.
So they call it mothball, right? They just gone. So this is a bourbon that for 80 years was being made and then just vanished and went off and was gone.
It's not an inexpensive bourbon either.
It is not.
And for something that just released in 2022, that's history, ended in 1960, and then all of a sudden was resurrected, there's some sticker shock.
It's almost a thing that made me go, what is this?
Yeah.
Because I'm walking through, I see it. There were only a couple bottles early on. Now I see more, but also the price has already gone up.
It's already gone up.
It's already gone up.
Like everything else in our world.
But it's a very simple label. It is, and apparently traditional to the old label.
Yeah.
They make this very simple.
Well, similar to an old Forester bottle.
I don't know, man. Shape. I feel like this is something that you and I made on an app for a night, and we kind of quickly came up with something, and like just slap it on. We got to get it in the stores. It feels like that, and then it's got like this kind of weird piratey, treasure map rear back. And it makes sense because this is a German immigrant in the 1800s that his quote on the bottle was something along the lines of, something about good fortune. Life deserves good fortune.
Well, and the front of it says something about rare character.
Well, Rare Character is the brand. That's the new company.
Rare Character is the brand. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
we're all learning something today.
Yeah, so Rare Character is the company that has formed, that actually has a couple guys formed the company and then brought in an old distiller and a guy from Heaven Hill. Yeah. And Rare Character is the new company that's relaunching a 140-year-old-ish brand in America.
Well, that makes a lot more sense because I thought it was their tagline.
That is with Rare Character?
Yeah.
Now I will say, it's got some rare character.
It does. It absolutely does.
So
I like what you did there.
Yeah. So this, again, is a sour mash. It is a bourbon. It is 6+ years, meaning that the youngest thing in it is 6 years. But the profile is a bit different than, you're going to get a lot of green apple, candied apple stuff, and we'll get to that in a second. But there's not a lot to go on with this because, again, It's an old brand. It's an old label, but it's a new company that's relaunching an old label. They don't have a lot of juice that's been produced that you can kind of build off of and understand the mash bill and understand the things. You got to take it for what it is. Try it and say, do I like it?
It's also not readily available everywhere. I mean, I've only seen it at Total Wine. Maybe it is in other places, but it's very new, and I think it was a good choice.
This come out of nowhere and charge $100 a bottle for, I don't know what this is, and it looks like you did it on print shop. It's pretty.
Although that was also probably a little bit of the attraction of like, are you kidding me? It's $100 and you did it on print shop.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
That's bold, and it must be good.
It does have the batch numbers and bottles. The bottle on when it was bottled on handwritten. This is the first edition 1E, and this is bottled in 922. So at the
and that's usually a good sign.
And that's kind of a month before I bought it.
Yeah.
Like, so it was bottled. It came to hit the shop, and like it was literally right. I sent you pictures and found this thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shelf it, and we're gonna pour it one day.
Yeah.
And we finally opened it and tasted it, and I'm like, this is pretty. It's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
And so we decided to go ahead with the pour and say, it's a new bottle. You're not going to see a ton of it, but you might see it right now. And nobody's going to pay $100 for it because they don't know what it is. So you might be able to scoop one up. So we thought it was a good time to go ahead and capture and send it out early on.
An intro to all of you.
Yeah.
So you'll be in the know.
So you're in the know and ahead of the curve. So again, weird. Again, the last two, they just don't check the same boxes as a lot of traditional bourbons.
Which has been kind of a neat thing for us this month with, 2 sour mashes, curveball kind of selections. One that has been around for a long time, but, is rare. And then, something brand new that none of us have really tried, and the last people to try it was in the 60s.
Well, I mean...
at least the recipe.
Well, no. It wasn't even the same recipe. It's just the label. They bought the brand. Like, the people making the whiskey today are not making it based on the traditions of how they made whiskey in the 1880s to 1960s with the brand.
It's 102 proof.
Yep. I just think about... I think about growing up and drinking whiskey. And I remember like when Wild Turkey, because all Wild Turkey is 101, right? And 101 used to be like this, like, oh my God, it's rocket fuel.
Yeah.
And now you realize that's not the case anymore. We drank 100.
Well, we did an old elk that we sent you last month that was 115 proof. So 101 is like,
And so now 102, and you're like, okay, that's kind of middle of the road. But this smells so different than like any Wild Turkey.
It also doesn't taste like a 101. Yeah. It's more of a 80 plus, 90-ish. It's smooth.
I think the cool thing for me on this one is, so your first notes are like a candied apple, green apple, a little bit of oak, because you get 6+ years, you get some of the age that's in there.
But kind of a cherry on the nose. Which
again, you smell what you smell. Yeah. And I think that's the cool thing, guys. Like, when we share all this, we're not telling you what you should smell.
No, not at all.
We're telling you what we smell. And you might get your own notes. And based on your glass and how long you let it sit and all those other things and how much actually you poured in your glass can change some of the things you're going to smell. So, but I definitely early when I first did the tasting notes got the candied apple, which was like this sweet, bright acidity, green apple in the middle, which because it calmed down and that sweetness went away. I get a little bit of the oak because it's a slightly older guy that spent some time at oak. I get that there, but I can already smell what my first taste note is which is it starts to turn into a little caramel. So you get this like caramel apple kind of thing. And it's like this cool, I'm still getting the apple, but it's turning a little bit more buttery and caramelly into it. So I'm gonna taste now, and then we'll see where we go from there. Of all the whiskeys we've had tonight, and that's a few, there is a more round body that feels balanced and it feels right.
It's the first one I've had tonight where I felt a little hug here, like a little warmth. And we've had about 4 or 5 different types of whiskey today.
But again, guys, it's Saturday. It's a playoff weekend. We started today watching the Niners, and then we watched the Jags pull the most unbelievable comeback ever.
It's unbelievable.
Go Trevor Lawrence.
Go Niners.
So we had some drinks earlier, but then we came in to do this, and we get pretty serious. So we drink some water, we sit down, we want to make sure our palates are clean, we want to talk through things and be accurate. It is really, really good.
I'm very impressed with this. I think that if you pulled the trigger on a bottle like this, so for the price point, you would not be disappointed.
No, well, look, you have to want certain things. It feels higher proof than it is. So at 102, I feel like the body of it feels like it's almost like a barrel proof or stronger thing, but smooth, but not because it's like high alcohol or ethanol or any of those things. It's just got body to it.
Yeah.
Like when you take a full sip and you're really tasting it, it feels round. It feels full. It feels like you're getting a full experience. Like some of the things that we've had, and man, I get peach, and maybe I get a little bit of this, and maybe I get this. This is a very full tasting experience kind of whiskey, and the mash bill is unknown. I know it's 6+ years, but that's kind of all you know about it.
We know it's over 51% corn.
Well, we know that. I would imagine that there's a decent rye percentage in it. I would imagine it's a high rye just because of some of that kick and body. It's not a soft, weeded kind of bourbon finish.
I also think this might be really good on ice.
Oh, without question. Now, and here's where my tasting notes for the actual taste, I think, would really get amplified with a piece of ice, which is, I get that caramel to start with, but I get orange and chocolate, like milk chocolate. And that milk chocolate is kind of like the texture and the velvetiness of it. The orange is just kind of some of that bitterness and acid in the middle. And I imagine with an ice cube that you would really get a milk chocolate finish on it, because it's not a bitter chocolate. It's a Hershey bar kind of chocolate.
I think if you put it on ice, it would be very drinkable.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's drinkable now. It's crushable. It'll be crushable. Yeah. So your finish is some spicy oak. There is some tobacco because, again, like a really good, I think, Kentucky bourbon.
I agree.
You get a tobacco kind of finish and back body, especially if we were to let this sit for 30 minutes and come back and smell it. It's really going to open up to some pipe tobacco kind of notes. And then that rye spice, why I think it's a rye.
I do too.
Is kind of that finish.
Yeah.
It is, now that I keep going back, I almost feel like I took an orange peel and took that orange oil and kind of did a little thing around my glass.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting...
And I've done a complete 180 on ryes. And I agree with you that it has kind of that rye kind of kick to it that I'm starting to figure out. I did the Peerless Rye that I had purchased a little while back.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm doing a lot more exploration myself around rye, and there's a sweetness to the rye that I thought a weeded bourbon would be more sweet than anything else. But not all exactly, not always. And I agree with you. I think this might be a higher rye content.
Yeah.
Although that would make sense because I think a lot of like
it is.
Yeah.
It is. Like I don't know it, but it is.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's great about this, and if you haven't had good high rye or just straight rye whiskeys, I was doing this last night with some friends, and again, we're getting older. We're starting to watch what we drink very little beer. We're trying to eat healthier. I'm on day 13 of my yoga challenge. Like, you know, we're trying.
I'm embarrassed that you mentioned that in this video, so I apologize.
I'm not. But one of the things that we talked about, I was with somebody who is like she's on a hardcore like real diet. Like I mean, like way more structured than anything I've ever done in my life, and she's like asking for like drinking options because you can't do any mixers. You can't do like anything that's a soda, anything that's a whatever.
Well, this is gluten free.
Well, yeah. But one of the things that we poured last night was just a rye on a cube, 2 splashes of bitters.
Nice.
And that's when you start getting into like true ryes, and this would actually really do well with that because there's a sweetness to this and a body to this. It feels like a full cocktail in a glass. And I think an ice cube will open it up. You can make it more complex with some bitters if you want to. I don't think it needs it.
No. I know this is a Fortuna whiskey tasting that we're doing right now, but since we're on the discussion of ryes and cocktails, Chicken Cock Rye is a cocktail in a bottle that is much recommended that we may at some point maybe need to revisit to send out because that is a special one.
That's the one I think that helped convert you.
Oh my gosh!
On understanding.
Well, actually, it was
ryes aren't.
Actually, it was. You guys can't probably see it, but it was the David Nicholson Reserve.
But that's just a high rye bourbon. The Chicken Cock is an actual rye.
Absolutely, yeah. That one totally converted me. And also the John Wayne Duke ones.
High rye.
You know, that was
high rye bourbon. So high rye is just simply a percentage of rye that's still way less than 50%. A rye whiskey is more than 51% rye, and that's when you start.
And the Peerless, there's a reason why that bottle's $120.
Yeah.
You know?
Look, I think again, not to get sideways on this conversation, I'm really impressed. I know it seems like we're always like fans of everything we send you. Like we're like, oh, then this one's great and this one's great. Well, keep in mind, we're not just sending you things and going like, we don't like this.
Yeah.
But try it anyway.
Yeah.
We send you things we like. So you're never going to get like negative reviews because if we did, we wouldn't send it to you.
We wouldn't send it to you.
So know that we're never going to send you things that we're like, hey, this is awful, but people like it, so try it.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you don't, that's okay. I mean, everybody has their own profiles. You have your own palate. We just curate, the bottles that we send out based upon what our likes are.
And our likes are evolving a lot. Like
absolutely.
So we're changing. Because we do this all the time doesn't mean that 2 years ago when we started, we'd had all this stuff.
Yeah.
And we taste more and more. Our taste buds expand, and we start to understand a little bit different. This is a bottle that I would walk past 10 out of 10 times for $100 because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
If I wasn't doing this on my side.
Absolutely. Well, which is what the point of all this is. And, for us, we're sending you stuff that we like. And whether you like it or not, we're putting our recommendations out there because, we're going through this journey just like you are.
Yeah.
So you're trying new things. Society members are trying new things. And then all of our, tastes are evolving together.
If we opened this and drank it and didn't like it, we wouldn't have sent it.
No.
So that's kind of the cool thing that we get to do now.
Yeah.
And trust me, there are bottles in here that we thought might make the cut that didn't.
Yeah.
And now we find ways to find, like, what are we going to do with this thing? I don't know, make a cocktail.
But we're also not interested in doing a video about something that we don't like.
Yeah.
And
so,
that sounds like no fun.
So I got into this rant a little bit because what I didn't want to sound like is like, hey, we're raving about this, but you always rave about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Are you always like, we don't we're getting nothing from Fortuna. You know, like we are a speck of dust on, you know, the orbit of the world of bourbon. So nobody cares about what we think. No. And so
maybe including the 6 or 3 people that might be watching these. Appreciate you.
So I really wanted to share this because I think it's an eye-opener on you don't have to go try to collect all the things that are triple, quadruple the price that it's supposed to be, because that's what everybody else wants. This is, I think, an incredibly well done bourbon.
Yeah.
That tastes different than most of the other things that I've had. The orange and that milk chocolate and, you know, a green apple kind of finish, start. Like, I don't know many things that we've talked about like that with before. But there's still that tobacco finish that gives you like that full-bodied experience. So
this is definitely one that we really like, and we hope you do too. You know, when we're out there looking and sourcing bottles and things, sometimes it's, you know, it's a 50-50 shot when you're picking out things that are brand new that you don't know about. We've got
a crappy label for
we've gotten really lucky with Stellum, with this, with a half a dozen others. Sometimes you got to pull the trigger on something to try something new. Our goal and job is to try to send you things so that you don't have to be the one that spends that $100 and then not like it.
That's why we have a collective.
That's why we do this. But at the same time, you know, I don't want you to feel like, you know, sometimes you got to take a risk, and then it pays off. So
it's getting better.
It's delicious.
It's getting better. Yeah. So please enjoy. Take your time with this one. Let it open up. Let it breathe. Let it evolve and let it change. It is, I think, a really, really solid bourbon. I was sticker shocked with the $100 price tag for something I'd never heard of, never seen, nothing written about it. And the way it looks is very basic. It looks like a bottom shelf bourbon.
It does.
It does. It looks like something that should be right next to.
I would request though that you get a 4-ounce pour every month from us. You know, do 2 ounces neat. Do 2 ounces on ice. If you have the opportunity to throw, you know, some information in the comments related to how you felt about it on ice or how you felt about it neat, that'd be really helpful, because we haven't had it on ice yet. But I bet it'd be pretty darn good.
And I bet we will in literally about 3 minutes.
We will. It'll be a nightcap. All right.
So guys, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
We hope you are all well. We hope that your families enjoyed the holiday season, that you guys are safe and kicking off the new year with whatever New Year's resolutions that you guys have made for yourselves. But if it is to drink delicious bourbon, I think we have done our part to help fulfill the first month.
And our New Year's resolution is to give you great bourbons in 2023. And we've got some really good ones coming forward here in the next few months. And we've gotten a little bit smarter about this and have gone out and purchased some bottles ahead of time.
We're ready to pour through April.
Yeah, we're ready to pour. We've got some really special pours coming, you know, in the next few months that I think you're all going to enjoy, and we're excited about it. So thank you for being members.
Absolutely.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And